This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Enter the world of sports the way you want with EA Sports College Football 26. Whether you rise through the ranks as a coach or chase greatness from high school recruit to Heisman, build your legacy and wear your colors with pride. Buy College Football 26 now at go.ea.com/MVP-bundle and bring glory home today. EA Sports College Football 26 is rated E for everyone. Includes in-game purchases, including random items.
Welcome, everybody, to a particularly special, brand new, never been done before episode of Seaweed Brain, a Percy Jackson podcast. Today, we are talking about the SpongeBob SquarePants movie as it relates to the Odyssey. You might be able to call this episode something like Carter.
We just talked about this. Failure.
Top 5 Odyssey parallels in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah,
Carter, we're coming back to you. We're coming back to you at the end. Paul.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the SpongeBob movie is better than the Odyssey. That's it.
Incredible.
It's better than the Odyssey, and the Odyssey stole from the SpongeBob movie.
Here's 6 reasons why. Maxwell.
I'm going to go with Watch Mojo presents top 10 SpongeBob-inducing Odyssey moments.
Kyle.
I would go woke teens look for parallels that aren't there in the SpongeBob movie. Or woke teens are obsessed with SpongeBob and the Odyssey.
Carter, redemption.
5 SpongeBob watchers find the one secret Odyssey enjoyer.
Brilliant. And I'm not going to do it because it was my idea.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Can I change mine?
Paul.
Florida man figures it out.
That's a good one, actually. That's actually a good one.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 guest hosts in the podcast house today because Carter and Erica are doing the Odyssey Adaptation Summer to prepare for the Sea of Monsters. We're talking about every adaptation of the Odyssey that we want to, except for the Odyssey itself. And this week, we're talking about the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, which was the idea of none other than, you know them well, Robert Gaymer, aka the Damned Meme Page, who's here with us today. Hi, Robert.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
We're doing great because we have 3 more guests to introduce, and I'm going to, in order to introduce them, pass the microphone off to Maxwell.
Hey, thanks, Erica. We are Maxwell Barnes, Paul Legallet, Kyle Prue. And I'm new to the pod. Paul's new to the pod. But we are the Temporary Hires. We're an improv group based out of Los Angeles, California. You ever been to a new job and you get there on the first day and your thoughts are kind of like, what? We tend to want to encapsulate that feeling in a show. We are that experience bottled into a hour-long multimedia event. We are not a slide projector and a bed sheet. We are a really fun comedy group. We'll do improv with a rotating guest stand-up every show. So that's why we're here.
So we're the temporary hires, but we also have temporary hires.
A temp's temp.
Yes, we have a temp.
That's beautiful. It's offering, it's just spreading the employment opportunities in this economy and this job market is really important. And for the purposes of today, I think we should pretend, Kyle, that you've never been here. So all 3 of you are temporary hires to the podcast.
Yes,
Believe
naturally.
me, yeah. Well, I'm confused.
Combined, all 3 of you represent 1.
The insights of one person.
I just want to do a quick show of hands. Who's watched SpongeBob in general?
Great question for an audio medium. It seems that everybody is raising their hand except for Carter.
I need to tell this story because it's funny every time. When you posted your graphic on my social medias being like, oh, this is what we're covering, every one of our podcast friends was like, oh my God, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, that's cute. And I was like, yeah, I'm the one who recommended it to them. I'm one of the guests. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, did you know that Carter's never watched SpongeBob? And then without a beat, they all do that pause where they're like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, Robert, say more about that. What traits does Carter exhibit as a person who has it's kind of like being homeschooled. It's like a little dash of homeschooling, the fact that you've never seen SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, how do you think that brings itself to the forefront in Carter's personality, Robert?
Jesus Christ.
We're starting the theme of personal attacks
Yeah,
right
here
now.
we go.
It's giving homeschooled. I think it's maybe the opposite. It's giving schooled as opposed to.
Carter was right. This is like a Jubilee video.
Yeah.
Everyone will be fighting everyone. Yeah.
I went lightly after Carter, and Erica just went in and just stabbed them.
It wasn't my idea. This was Kyle Prue's idea. Because we have so many of us here today to talk about the parallels between SpongeBob and the Odyssey, the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go around in a circle, in a round table, and everyone is going to present individually as themselves one parallel between SpongeBob, the movie, and the Odyssey. They're going to present it and defend it with their life, and we're going to attack them and poke holes in their logic in any way, shape, or form that we can using whatever tools and means necessary. Even though I think we can all just, we're playing pretend, I think we can all nod and say right now, we do believe that SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie, is an adaptation of the Odyssey.
Definitely.
I'm seeing nods all around.
1,000%.
Yeah, so just don't be afraid, listeners. From here on out, we're playing pretend. It's all false. But for the purposes of argument and creative discussion, this is where we're going to begin. I don't have an order for this. Does anybody want to go? Oh, Kyle Prue, raise your hand. Professor, would you introduce yourself by your full academic name, please?
Yes. My name is Kyle Stephen Prue. This is the defense.
That's just your name.
I know that it's just my name. This is my defense of what I believe to be a very strong Odyssey parallel within the SpongeBob SquarePants film released in 2004. And here it is. The grandmother with the ice cream.
Oh,
now,
mine.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to go first, because I knew everyone would pick this. So essentially, for those of you who haven't seen the movie in a while or didn't watch it in preparation, SpongeBob and Patrick are driving their little hamburger car through a sort of graveyard of corpses, like a mountain of skulls picked clean. And within this sort of, this multitude of bones, there is a small shack, which there appears to be an old grandmother-looking lady there. She has a sign that says free ice cream on the top of the shack. SpongeBob goes to go get the free ice cream. When he touches the ice cream, his hands begin to stick. And it is now revealed that this old woman and this shack itself are a vestigial connection to a monster fish. And this is how the fish, I guess, apparently, hunts and kills. It's sort of an anglerfish type thing. I think that this is a direct parallel, a direct allusion to the sirens within the Odyssey. Because what you have here is this visage of a woman who is offering something of temptation. This is very common within myth, the visage of the woman, usually it's a very beautiful woman. I think in this case, because SpongeBob is what was like by the Instagram confirmed asexual, what could only possibly really tempt SpongeBob is, of course, ice cream. This is sort of maybe more palatable for kids, but that is my interpretation, is that this is temptation made to lure travelers to their death.
Do you have receipts and dates for when SpongeBob was confirmed to be asexual?
Yes, let me find this right now.
It was definitely during early pandemic. Everyone was home for this Instagram announcement. I want to say Pride 2020.
Okay, here we go. I googled SpongeBob asexual ? Yes, SpongeBob SquarePants is generally considered asexual. The show's creator, Steven Hillenburg, stated that he considered SpongeBob to be almost asexual, and that the show was not intended to be gay, according to asexuality.org. He clarified that the character's lack of sexuality was not meant to be a thematic expression of asexuality, but rather a reflection of his mindset.
Asexuality.org is always making mistakes like that.
Yes. Well, our asexuality on Reddit has a post with 110 comments that says SpongeBob is an asexual legend. So yeah, Nickelodeon confirmed.
From now on, I'm expecting Reddit citations in every one of these principles.
Yes.
Oh my god, here, let's pull up Reddit.
I was going to bring up the fact that the difference between the ice cream lady and the sirens is the sensuality nature of that contrast, but Kyle defended it before I could even mention it. So does anybody else have anything to say about that?
I mean, it's true that sea sponges are asexual, like biologically, because they reproduce by budding, as we've seen in the show.
So we're not at all picking apart my comparison here.
We're
very
picking
sound.
apart
whether or not
argument.
Oh well, thank you. I've I meant to defend it well.
But what about Patrick here? I feel like we're missing out on Patrick. Patrick seems like a pretty sexual being.
Yeah. Patrick is straight.
Yeah, Patrick's straight as hell.
And here's what I'll say. We have no idea of Patrick's perspective in this. Because it's not Patrick who's lured in by the ice cream, it's SpongeBob.
Oh, Patrick stays in the hamburger car.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He sort of has maybe more of a supporting role in this scene.
One could say keeping Patrick in the hamburger car is similar to Odysseus clogging his crew's ears with wax. He's prohibiting Patrick from even experiencing the temptation in the first place.
Exactly correct. And SpongeBob, in sort of facing this thing head on, putting hands on, is taking the greatest risk. In the same way that Odysseus takes the greatest risk by, tying himself to the ship. Yeah.
That's rock solid as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's slam dunk, yeah.
It's why it's the one I wanted,
It's the one I wanted.
Yeah, sorry, Paul.
That's okay. That's okay. That's all I had.
I think that the toughness here is that the siren song, like in theory, is supposed to reveal a flaw that is surprising. Like Odysseus is supposed to be a smart guy, but he's supposed to learn something about himself when he experiences a siren song. And I think that's maybe the area where SpongeBob, maybe he's learning something because he's not really reflective like that. But I feel like for all viewers, when I got to that scene, I was like, okay, we're being like slammed over the head with this, like, SpongeBob is a like gluttonous child who just wants to consume ice cream all the time. Like, this is like the fourth or fifth, like every single stop at this point has been some version of like, you're a kid, all you do is consume and avoid responsibility. And I feel like in that respect, we're maybe deviating from the novelty, the insight of the sirens, who are just kind of like pulling on a thread that I feel like we've already pulled. That being said, I do think it is a slam dunk.
Yeah, it's sort of the final one that we have before SpongeBob and Patrick become aware, I think, of what their situation is. Like in this moment, they become what I think they really get out of it is the awareness. Because right after this, the Mindy comes and they're like, we're babies and we can't do this,
Yeah.
And that's when, she comes to them with the mustaches.
Robert.
And that segues into what mine was going to be. So
Beautiful.
Professor Gaymer.
Professor Gaymer, yeah. Professor Robert Alexander Gaymer. The only other time my full name has ever been said was on a podcast that no longer exists. So, hey.
Would you also like to share your social security number?
Shouldn't it be like homosexual for the purposes of the professorial naming?
Okay, Carter's getting back at me for earlier. Fantastic. My parallel between the SpongeBob SquarePants movie and the Odyssey is that Mindy is essentially the stand-in for Athena. Because Mindy, much like Athena, asks her father, Athena asks Zeus, and Mindy asks Neptune to help SpongeBob and Patrick. She gives them confidence using mermaid magic, a lot like how Athena gives confidence to Telemachus. And she's the reason that they have the seaweed mustaches, which is a prevalent theme in the Odyssey. Like, disguises is like a huge thing in the Odyssey. Also, to throw in my mandatory subreddit quote from r/today I learned, talking about how this person found out that the SpongeBob SquarePants movie is loosely based on the Odyssey. I will now read the top comment. I think the main point I took away from the film was that you don't need a license to drive a sandwich.
I have to say, in my research, I came across that exact Reddit post and also chortled at that statement within the past 48 hours. I'm going to go ahead and say the low-hanging fruit here. Professor Homosexualmer, what is the reason for switching from Athena to Minerva, the Roman representation, for the purpose of this movie?
Oh yeah, I guess that is... Mindy would be kind of from Minerva, wouldn't it? That's a very good question here in this class. I love teaching as much as I love learning. So please, what do you think the relevance of her being Minerva instead of Athena is?
Probably to clap back at Disney for changing Heracles to Hercules, Nickelodeon said, I'm also going to switch Athena to Minerva and then Mindy for this movie.
I don't think there's like a Mindy version of Athena. Like there's no American female girl name that sounds like Athena, other than Athena if you're, trans or have nerdy parents.
Shout out to the Athenas listening to Seaweed Brain right now. We see you.
Shout out to you. Yes, you did that.
Does anyone else want to point out flaws in Professor Homosexual Mur's parallels?
I was just going to say, I was on the Wikipedia page and I just found out that the character was voiced by Scarlett Johansson in 2004.
Yeah. Wow.
This is wild to me. This would have been like before she played Asian, right off of, well, I guess the first time she played not Asian in Lost in Translation. But
the first time she ever played not Asian.
I can't believe you didn't hear this and immediately recognize Scarlett Johansson's voice.
She has like a weird voice. That's like kind of her whole thing. Like she, her, etc. But yeah, it did not occur to me at all when watching this movie that it might have been Scarlett Johansson. That wasn't in the choice set I was considering.
You didn't see Jurassic World recently enough.
I did not. I surely did not.
Paul?
Well, actually, I was going to bring it back to just the talk on Mindy made me remember, like, oh, doesn't SpongeBob have a big crush on Mindy? And then I got back onto my head about SpongeBob's asexuality, and not to bring it back to there again, but then I Googled it. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a crush on Mindy. And then it says SpongeBob is portrayed as asexual in the show.
Yeah.
And then it says, but Patrick has a big crush on Mindy.
Right.
So
I would go further to say, Paul, on that vein, if Patrick is representative of both Odysseus's crew and also sort of half of Odysseus, as this is the journey of SpongeBob and Patrick throughout this whole situation, there is a fraught relationship and a strange relationship with lots of different undertones between Odysseus and Athena. I think that there's something of a kind of strange romantic feeling happening between the two of them, but there's also this weird motherly situation happening because she is their guide. So I would say it stands to reason that half of the representation of Odysseus in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie has a crush on the representation of Athena.
And the other half is sort of just childlike. Yeah.
Any further thoughts on this point?
I buy it. I just straight up buy it.
Old.
I think it's so much so like this idea that like the gods within, the Odyssey often cannot directly influence events, but they can offer, like you said, confidence, encouragement, gifts. I think that like Mindy coming at this crucial moment to intervene, to give them the confidence to move forward, like that's so Greek, because it's like, yes, like I can't go against my father, because, he is set on this path. But what I can do is aid you in your journey. I feel like that is very, very Odyssean.
To that point, like the seaweed she gives them is literally, she just plucks it off the side of the road. It's not even magical. It's the confidence within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It really frames the Athena intervention in the Odyssey. I think it helps you to understand that as fundamentally directed and parental and one might even say condescending in a way that I support. Like, I think this reading helps to remind us of the ways in which Odysseus is also a child in a lot of ways who needs to be coddled.
If we're all sold on that point, I would like to go next. This is Professor Erica R.F. Kwang Ito reporting for duty. And I would like to present that the Odyssey is a story of a fatal flaw of Odysseus. And Odysseus' fatal flaw is obviously fatal to him. It gets him in trouble. It nearly kills him. But it also saves the day, because our fatal flaws are also our greatest strengths. Odysseus' fatal flaw is famously hubris. Right? But having the confidence to challenge the gods and thinking he's powerful and he's always going to get out of every situation perfectly. I don't think that SpongeBob's fatal flaw, and by extension, Patrick's fatal flaw, is hubris. I think it is what Kyle was speaking of earlier, this childlike immaturity. That the whole reason that Odysseus is in the Odyssey, he gets called into the Trojan War by King Menelaus. But in effect, he's going into that because he wants to be the best of the Greeks. Odysseus believes in his power and in his ego and everything. I think he can say that he didn't want to go off to war, but he knows what he wants, and he wants that glory just as much as he wants that homecoming. SpongeBob wants to prove to his boss, to Mr. Krabs that he's not a child, that he is fit for the position of manager of the Krusty Krab 2. In order to do that, he needs to prove that he's not a child. He needs to prove that he's not immature. So he wants to go and save the day and prove to everybody along the way that he is an adult and he's not just a little baby eating his ice cream sundae. This gets him into trouble time and again. It causes them to, causes SpongeBob and Patrick to not be aware of their surroundings, to see the best in people, which can sometimes get them in trouble. But as noted in the montage sequence, as they're fighting multiple different sea monsters in the middle of the movie, they are seeing the best in people, and their childlike immaturity sometimes results in positive interactions with these monsters, able to make friends with all of these enemies that they meet along the way. In the emotional crux of the movie, when the reprise of I'm a Goofy Goober comes back, as they are being dried out to death in the Shell City gift shop, we think their foolish immaturity, not understanding the world around them, has led them into this trap of the Cyclops. Well, what do they come back to in this moment? They come back to their mantra, the core of what makes them who they are, the Goofy Goober theme song. That's where they go to celebrate their childlike whimsy. That's where they go when they're told they're too immature. They revisit that song, and it is through singing that song that they generate enough moisture to cause an electrical problem that saves the day in that moment. So at the end of the day, this is a story about their fatal flaw being immaturity, childlike wonder, getting them into trouble, but also saving them. And to make my mandatory Reddit citation on r/Camp Half-Blood, fatal flaws, PJO spoilers. This poster says, Annabeth's flaw is not hubris, even though she thinks it is. Her fatal flaw is loyalty. As we know, Annabeth is the stand-in for Odysseus in the Percy Jackson universe.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think and we separate ourselves from hubris, if we think about loyalty, we can also imagine SpongeBob and Patrick's fatal flaw in this movie being loyalty as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Wait, I have a quick explanatory SpongeBob lore question related to this. Does the Goofy Goober and the Goofy Goober theme song only exist within this movie? Was this like a pre-existing piece of
this
SpongeBob?
is pretty much only in this movie.
Yeah.
The Krusty Krab 2 is also only in this movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of a standalone.
That's because, and like skipping to my point here, this thematically, in terms of the canon of SpongeBob, this movie is supposed to be like the end of SpongeBob's like timeline. Even though there's seasons after this movie, that's kind of what the writers and Steven Hillenburg planned for, was that this would be kind of like a sending off point. This is kind of the final mark of SpongeBob's tales, just because there is no Krusty Krab 2 in any of the other shows or episodes that come out after this.
And you know, I will say on your point, Erica, this idea, this title of manager, you know, we sort of open with this dream sequence. SpongeBob believes that the position of manager is one of great glory. The title of manager is of great glory, and it reminds me of Greatest of the Greeks within the Iliad, which was all these heroes came to Troy. You know, a city much like maybe one that they had in Greece. You could call this a Krusty Krab too, maybe, if you were so inclined. And this title is up for debate, and the title is Greatest of the Greeks. And so, you know, I think in a way, perhaps the manager of the Krusty Krab 2 is an allusion to the Greatest of the Greeks, a title hard won and fought for by Odysseus. If SpongeBob is our sort of our stand-in,
would that imply that a Squidward is like Achilles then?
Yes, Squidward
That's a separate episode.
Squidward is Achilles, and he's in danger because he has so many heels.
And he's gay. Most importantly, he's a homosexual merc.
And Patrick is straight, and Sandy's bi.
Oh my god!
Don't ask me how I know.
SpongeBob's Kleos is to advance up the capitalist ladder.
That's true.
That's his glory. That's his end goal.
Do we think, though, because SpongeBob was just... in the movie, he's trying to physically save Mr. Krabs, right? Because Mr. Krabs is frozen, and Neptune says he will execute Mr. Krabs. So do we think, I almost think SpongeBob's too innocent to be able to say, like, he has this plan for glory, this plan for manager. Like, I think he just, of course he wants it, but I think he just happens to get it at the end. But I think he just wants to save his friend Mr. Krabs more than anything else.
Friend, it's his boss.
Counterpoint, you can't be friends with your boss. That's an HR violation.
Sure.
And we'll expand upon that thought at our temporary hires shows.
Yeah, on Thursday.
Yes.
Great plug, Kyle.
Yes, thank you.
That was my plan.
Yeah. But Paul, I think you're right. I mean, there's a little bit more of a, innocence the way that SpongeBob conducts himself. But I will say that at the same time, too, back at home, Odysseus has sort of an altruistic, reason to return. Like he's out for glory too, but he also wants to get home to Penelope.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly he wants to get home to his wife. There are, some complications there, but his home is filled with suitors. These sort of mindless, bucket-headed people might even say.
Bucket-headed.
One might say, if one needed a point, one might say such a thing.
One could.
One could.
Paul, would you like to make a point?
I actually have a separate point.
Professor Paul, introduce yourself. The floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Paul Legallet. My friends like to call me Paul Albert Einstein Legallet.
It's true.
Professor.
I call him that all the time.
Yeah. So here's my point, and I know I'm right, so we don't necessarily need to argue after, but we can if you'd like. My point is that, and I can't believe nobody's brought this up yet. Homer is David Hasselhoff, and David Hasselhoff is Homer. And I'm just going to take you through some reasons why now. So David Hasselhoff was born in Baltimore, Maryland. Homer was born in...
That's not how I thought this was going to start.
Homer was born in Ionia, which some call that the Maryland of that area of Greece. So Homer's written some great works known as the Iliad, the Odyssey.
You're going to tell me the city Annapolis doesn't sound Greek? It has the word polis at the end. Anyway, sorry.
Sure. But like Baltimore, like some people have said, Baltimorepolis, I think it used to be called that. And moving on. Homer has written some good stuff. Hasselhoff, he portrayed Dr. Snapper Foster in The Young and the Restless in 1975 to 1982, and
yes.
I would say that was
sort of his Iliad.
Yeah, that's sort of his Iliad,
Yeah.
and Baywatch obviously being
American epic.
his Odyssey. I could go on and on, honestly.
It's obvious.
People have said, Homer was blind, maybe, and Hasselhoff, he hit the gym at least 6 days a week, which I think caused some sort of walking issues towards the end of his life, but.
David Hasselhoff is dead?
No, he's alive. And David Hasselhoff died.
You don't end a sentence with he suffered with this towards the end of his life if he's not dead.
Yeah, but just in comparing them, he could be dead, and Homer is dead. So that's about my point. Anyone can add.
I would say that for anyone who that's going over your head, I think that's a you problem. I think that if this parallel is not obvious to you,
1,000%.
that's on you.
Homer could also turn into a speedboat when he wanted to.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
It had not occurred to me that some of these comparisons might just be made up. But that got me.
That's famously what the men of ancient Greece could do. They could turn into boats.
What was the show that David Hasselhoff was on? Baywatch. What did they do in ancient Greece? They watched the bay. Attackers.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who appears at the 11th hour in the Odyssey as a self-insert character to Deus Ex Machina save the day? Homer.
Yes.
I would like everybody to keep in mind that we have explicitly not read the Odyssey on this podcast.
Yeah.
And much like that section of the Odyssey, he walks in, in his swim shorts, being like, "I'm Homer."
I'm Homer.
Yeah, I think he does say, he says, "I'm
That's
Homer."
literally in the Odyssey.
Yeah. And in the SpongeBob movie, he goes, "I'm Homer."
And it's in the
I missed
SpongeBob
that
movie.
part.
I forgot too.
Yeah.
I need a rewatch.
Yeah.
I do actually think that there is something to the Deus Ex Machina combined with genre convention, medium boundary breakingness of the SpongeBob movies with the way that the Iliad has been told and retold. Even in the original telling, like there are literal like gods who appear and just like create plot dynamics that don't really make sense so that we can continue to have an epic journey. And you might as well just say, like, that's the same thing as having David Hasselhoff appear and immediately transport you down to the bottom of the ocean. I think I see the vision.
Absolutely. Thank you, Professor Einstein-Legallet, for that contribution to the
That
field.
was incredible.
That's
Yeah.
why
Thank you.
at the end of Blood of Olympus, Zeus smacks the Argo 2 back to New York. It's a
It
reference.
was a reference to the SpongeBob movie, for sure.
It was a reference to David Hasselhoff putting SpongeBob and Patrick between his bosom and then launching them to Bikini Bottom. I'm glad to know that Rick is well versed in the classics.
I have one more, actually.
Whoa.
Hasselhoff also appeared in a cameo role in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh,
and
yes.
I think Homer appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'm pretty sure...
They're both friends with James Gunn.
Right.
That's how
he comes
that's how
in and
it
he
works.
says, "I'm Homer."
I'm Homer.
Did you guys not catch the Homer cameo in the new Superman movie?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I saw
I
it.
think it's
Is it the one where he goes, "I'm Homer"?
I'm
Yes.
Right. It's that
That's
one.
usually
It's that
how
one.
you know it's him. is
Yeah.
when he says that. Yeah.
All right. That's my
Cool.
case.
Sounds like we've got 2 more people left to present and defend.
Yeah, I have a point to make. I'll take the floor.
Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, my name's Maxwell Stephen Barnes. That's right. I have the same middle name as Kyle.
I don't think that's true.
Nope, it's true. We've been friends for years.
I've never asked. Put your ID up to the camera.
Oh, I think I left it in my other pair of knickers. I'll try to grab those afterward. Okay, so we both know that SpongeBob and Patrick battle some monsters, but there's one key figure we've been missing, which we haven't touched on. There's literally a giant Cyclops that comes in halfway through, towering over them, and takes them hostage. And this, I believe, is a direct parallel to the Cyclops that exists in the Odyssey. You know, both are giant figures in their world. They trap the protagonist. They are both ultimately outsmarted and provide a sort of a plot point for these our central figures, our protagonists, to use their ingenuity against brute force. And in the latter, with SpongeBob and Patrick, they do it through the power of friendship, which I think is beautiful. So, Shell City.
More like...
Our improv show.
Yeah, we're professional improvisers. Please come see us perform. I say not for free. Not for free.
Not for free. No refunds. No
You ate a
refunds.
seed that one really well, Kyle.
I said...
You just ate to...
Shell City, more like...
Yeah, so bouncing off of that.
Yeah, go on.
May I point out the direct parallel is that SpongeBob blinds the Cyclops with glue and, I believe, googly eyes, much like how Odysseus blinds the Cyclops in that cave that one time.
Counterpoint, it's actually not SpongeBob who does that. It's a random reanimated lobster. However, I think that adds on to Maxwell's point about the power of friendship. Teamwork.
Well, okay, I think it's both, like, they're crossing streams in this narrative, because mostly it's Polyphemus, the Cyclops, but it's also a little bit Circe, because we don't actually have, like, a witch moment. But, like, specifically the concept of untransforming. Wait, that doesn't happen in the original myth. That's just Percy Jackson. I was going to be like, the idea of, like, untransforming all the prior hostages and having them attack is closer to, like, a Circe analog than it is to a Polyphemus analog. But Blackbeard the pirate attacking is just Sea of Monsters. It's not actually the Odyssey.
Exactly. Well, we've never read the Odyssey, but we have read Sea of Monsters, so I think that's fine to
We
say.
have. So earlier when I said that Carter had never seen SpongeBob, it has been proven by the fact that they say Polyphemus instead of Polyphemus.
Carter, that's 2 for Robert, 1 for you. You've got about 7 minutes left on this recording to even the ante.
Oh my god.
I also have to do my comparison last, and I think that I have the lowest hanging, most completely defensible one to do, which is the wins. There's a bag of wins to a bag of wins. It's 1-to-1. Nobody's gonna fight me. Slam dunk.
What's the bag in the Odyssey? Is it a paper bag?
You know,
They don't say.
this is a really excellent question that might be better posed to people who have compared across multiple translations and could give you the nuances of how the object is described by different people with expertise in ancient Greek. We are not such people. It's a bag. It's a bag. There's wind in it. It doesn't actually do anything for us because people open it wrong.
I think in the Emily Wilson version, it's a paper bag, right? That's very crucial. It's a very important translation that she made.
I'm gonna believe you.
I will say, Carter, in the Odyssey, they received this bag of winds from the King of the Winds. But in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, they received this bag of winds from Mindy. What do you have to say about that?
I have to say that it doesn't really matter. And
Bag of wins is a bag of wins.
A bag of wins is a bag of wins. Aeolus was cut for time.
yeah, how would we have had Aeolus? I don't particularly see that for us in the SpongeBob movie.
Okay.
When I sat down to watch this and I saw 90 minutes, I really so few people could accomplish such a feat of majesty and compactness, tightness, cleanness, and storytelling. And would you have had them add 10 minutes to that runtime, that glorious runtime, so that we could meet Aeolus? I don't think so. I don't see that for them or for us.
I don't know why that broke me the most. Just Carter being like, it was 90 minutes long.
It was 90 minutes, but I'm going to bet you $20 Carter watched it in 45 minutes, if not 30 minutes, using a Chrome extension to speed up the video.
I did not. I actually sat down with SpongeBob actual viewers in my life and 1x speeded that out of respect for an art form that I do not understand and have no prior exposure to.
We can say that Carter completed their own Odyssey by watching
I did. I was on a journey watching this, being like, why?
No.
How many times are we gonna hear this song? Like, wow, I'm old. Okay, I say that, but also I feel like I've seen this movie in parts entirely previously. Like, I wasn't surprised when David Hasselhoff came on the screen and chest launched them as like a real human person.
Probably because you saw that other movie where Homer walked in and was like, I'm Homer.
Right.
Or maybe it was confusing with the Odyssey when Homer did that. Yeah, that's...
or Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, when I saw this movie as a grade schooler for the first time in 2004, when David Hasselhoff walked on screen, I was like, well, that makes sense. Like, none of it caught me off guard.
Yeah, well, a situation in which I first watched this movie, just as a piece of context, is that my father's company, when I was a child, would rent out a movie theater for one day a year, and you could see as many movies as you wanted all day long. It was really cool. It was really fun.
That's Carter's dream.
It was the weekend that this movie
stuff.
came out, and I, instead of watching a bunch of different movies, watched the SpongeBob movie 6 times in a row. And that is why while watching it this time, I sort of was able to leave my body and return to that moment.
In that vein, Kyle, I want to summarize us and close us out here from the discussion today by saying the true, biggest, most important, like emotionally resonant parallel is the enduring nature and power of storytelling. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie opens with a framing device of a group of pirates going to a movie theater to witness the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Much like the Odyssey is a fake story about a fake war and a bunch of fake stuff that happened that bards would tell to their audiences with music, much like the Goofy Goober song. This is a tradition that has passed down for years and years and years and years and years through generations and generations, as the SpongeBob SquarePants movie has and will continue to do.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's indisputable.
And I'm Homer.
And in summation, we are Homer.
We're
We are
We're Homer.
We are
Thank
not
you.
Homer. We don't have those IMDb credits.
Thanks for reminding me how slim my IMDb is, Carter. That feels really good.
This Homer guy, he's the one he's yellow and he works at a nuclear plant and he eats donuts.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Mm.
And he wrote the Odyssey.
And he wrote the Odyssey.
Yeah, that part.
Well, I would like to thank everybody for being here today for this discussion. And I'm going to need some more information about this Temporary Hires show. Where can we find more information about that?
You can find us on Instagram at Temporary Hires. I was really glad we found that username. It was still available.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be posting more information about our shows. We're going to be doing more monthly shows, hopefully, at some various theaters around Los Angeles. We have our first show coming up on July 17th at the Pack Theater in Los Angeles at 7 p.m. So if you're able to get there in time, do it. If not, that's fine too.
I will be sure to go on my own Odyssey to see it.
Yeah. We'll catch the next one. Thank you guys so much. You guys know where you can find Robert at the Damn Meme page. And I'm going to link everybody's personal socials and other activities. The Sparks and other things by Kyle Prue in our show notes. Thank you so much. And we will see you all next week to talk about the Penelope ad by Margaret Atwood. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your Odyssey summers. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Ooh, this was exactly the vibe I was expecting.